Road Trippin' fans, Homage t-shirts are as ferocious as the dunks or bangouts Richard and Channing throw down from time to time, and their softness can't even be matched. Homage has been turning back the clock with throwback tees for years. From the NBA to the Ultimate Warrior, the tee that LeBron wore on the plane after leading the Cavs to its first title the city had seen in over 50 years. Well, Homage tells the stories of triumph, individualism, and hustle, preserving the old school and creating new legacies. Go to homage.com, that's HOMAGE, and pay homage with your favorite tee. Be sure to check out the NBA Jam tees and one exclusively made for me and you. Better yet, 3 other tees designed specific to the Road Trippin' fan you'll want to check out. We're Road Trippin' at Homage.
I'm your host, Allie Clifton. And before we get to our guest, which we're so excited about, I must say that I'm joined by Richard for the first time since you gave your farewell to Cleveland. Since you got kicked out of Cleveland.
What's going on? Yeah, kicked out of Cleveland. Yeah, I got kicked out for the bromance, and then they broke up. It was so sad. And now the Cavs are on, Miami's on, and I'm watching the playoffs. It's a lot of fun.
Again, nobody cares, so let's get to our guest.
No one cares.
The one and only.
I care, Richard.
You care?
There you go.
I don't want your heart to be broken.
By the way, she just stole my joke. That's my joke that no one cares.
That's what happens when you're around him all the time.
Say, who's who's been looking for you?
Who?
Nobody.
You know who misses you? Who?
Yeah,
no
nobody.
one. Nobody.
Charles Barkley on Road Trippin'.
Thank y'all for having me.
We've been only trying since November.
When I started this, there was like a holy grail of people that we wanted on here. Turner told us that, Richard, you will be working tonight and Chuck will be working tonight, so you cannot drink. Because normally drinking is a part of road tripping.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Y'all should have came on the offense.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
What's your drink of choice?
Me? Well, why are you buying?
I'm always buying.
Well, see, for this, we normally do wine, right? Because
Okay.
if you go
Red or white?
Red, white, depending on the day, depending on the location. If it's earlier in the day, we'll probably go white. If it's before dinner, we would go red.
Hey, well, when we finish this thing, I got a new wine out.
Oh, there we go.
We just won a bunch
Plug
of awards. We just no, it's good. First of all the money goes to charity. It's called CB Vineyards.
Okay.
I partnered with out in Napa.
Okay.
With Paso Robles.
Oh, I know Paso.
And I just got voted won best new red, best new white. I got 2
We're
reds.
looking for sponsorships, man. We drink a lot on this.
The money
podcast.
goes to charity. We're not giving money away.
Yeah,
but how's that work?
But we can taste the wine.
How does?
But I can tell you what, y'all give me y'all address. I'll send y'all a couple cases.
Oh, what?
It's really good.
But this is the thing. What we'll do on it, we'll drink a lot.
I tell you what,
and then
we have a deal.
What's that?
We have a deal. I'm gonna send y'all wine to drink on the show.
Can you believe this, Charles? The year that we started the podcast, they started saying that the Cavs were sucking essentially because of road tripping, because we were drinking.
Oh,
well,
God.
they just never saw us drink. So we would always do dinner get-togethers the night before a game, wherever it was. We'd watch the playoffs or watch the games, and we would just all have a glass or two of wine. We're not getting hammered on here. Sometimes, but it was
depends on
the moment.
Yes, but listen. First of all, I'm always up for drinks.
Yeah,
I like to drink.
You and I both.
Yeah, I love to drink.
I actually got a stop sign tattooed on my hand as a joke to tell me to stop drinking. Yeah.
Yeah. No, see, I have this little thing where I just close my eyes, and if things are spinning, that means stop.
Yeah,
that's how I test myself because once you pass that limit, nothing that's good gonna happen.
Do you know when you're reaching that point though?
After I've had so much, I'll just close my eyes as long as things are not spinning.
Then you're have one more.
I say, okay, I'm good for at least one more. Yeah, but when things start spinning, it's time to stop. Don't take any chances because it's going to end badly. Because Richard, remember this. So when you're in the NBA. You meet with doctors all the time. They talk to you about drinking and things like that. And I remember, early in my career, the doctor came in. He says, "Let's talk about drinking." And he says, "Do you guys know why you get drunk?" And we're like, "Yeah, because you had too much to drink." He says, "No, that's not why you get drunk. You get drunk because your body is such a great machine. It's telling you, 'Fool, I'm not going to let you kill me.'" And I was like, it is true. That's the reason you throw up. Yeah. It's because your body is saying, "I'm not going to let you hurt me."
Yeah.
And then he says, "Let me tell you 3 things that we've all tried. Let me know you're really an idiot." He says, "Don't drink water because you're just going to be a drunk who's got to pee all night." He says, don't eat anything because this is just going to give you more stuff to throw up.
Oh, wow.
And he said, don't drink coffee because you're just going to be a drunk who can't sleep. He says, once this is a
that
doctor.
Is intelligent.
Yes. No, this is from a doctor.
I'm calling bullshit.
Because what he says is, once you're drunk, it's over. You can't do anything about that night. But we've all tried those 3 remedies.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been to Crystal's in the middle of the night, get like 90% bread and 5% hamburger. Try to
soak it all up.
Yeah. But it doesn't work. He gave me those 3 clues. He says, once you're drunk, you're just drunk for the night. But don't try those 3 stupid things.
So then how long does it take for the drunk to wear off?
It depends on how much you had to drink. And it's just going to be in your system for that night. I mean, you're just done. I mean, you might puke, you might not. But that night, there's nothing you can do to stop it. Because once you're past the point of no return, your body's just going to. But like I say, it was interesting to listen to a doctor because most people think you throw up because you're drunk.
Yeah. Right.
It's your body's mechanism for not letting you be an idiot and kill yourself. Yes.
Yeah, I actually heard that. Like, you know, the
way to pay attention in those meetings. Really.
No, I never pay attention to the meetings, but someone did tell me. My friend Erica Trico, shout out. She told me that the reason why sometimes when you hear someone else like gagging, it makes you want to throw up, right? Like just the sound of someone gagging or someone throws up can make you want to throw up. They say it goes back to the tribal days. So like if you were to eat something, we were all to eat something. If one person were to start throwing up, that would mean the food is bad or it's spoiled. So it would be like a chain reaction of people like
Tell your your friend Erica, don't ever say anything that's stupid again.
I was going to say, I feel like that's just being. I feel like that's just a mental game.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Why do you think I said her name?
Okay.
I said her name.
Erica Tarico,
yeah.
She related to Mike?
No, she's not.
Okay.
She's from Phoenix, though. So,
okay,
yeah.
Erica, listen, I live in Phoenix. Don't be saying stupid stuff, making people think we're stupid. They already think we're crazy because we didn't want to have MLK holiday.
Yeah.
Don't be throwing gasoline on the fire.
And that's why I said her name. She said this, and I just,
I love Erica, too.
Yeah, she's nice. You know, I'm sorry she says stupid shit, and I had to share it with everyone. You know, that's not my fault, but hey, that's part of it. So, no, Chuck, I'm with you.
So you going to move, when you retire, are you going to come back to Arizona?
I would love. I live in Hermosa Beach right now.
Yeah.
And anyone that ever listens to this podcast, they know how much I love it. I love Phoenix. Phoenix is my. I love it. It's just tough because the only time we have off, like you know, is during the summer.
Oh no, yeah, you can't live there during the summer.
And if that's
but at some point you're going to retire. You do know that, right?
That's what they keep telling me, right? That at some point in time the NBA is going to stop calling. Well, that's why I'm doing this podcast, so I have something to do when I do retire.
He says pay him to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got listen. You play number one. You play as long as you can.
Yes.
Because there's nothing like playing.
No.
There's nothing like playing.
Nothing like it. Even if you're not playing, nothing like
it's the
playing.
best job. I tell people they give you. I remember the first time I got per diem. They're like, "Here, Rook." I open up. I says, "That's like $200, $300 in here." He's like, "Yeah, you get like $120, $30 a day to eat when you're on the road." I says, "Wait, y'all paying for our meals?"
Was that enough to feed you?
Back then it was. Back then it was.
Before you found the steakhouse?
Yeah, I'm like, before I got culture. You know, back in the day, I was still eating ham hocks.
Just country stuff.
What's a ham hock?
It's that's so white of you.
I'm country, too.
No, but she's
You never
Ohio.
had chitlins?
No, she's Ohio country.
I'm Ohio country.
Yeah, we Southern country. Chitlins, ham hocks, neck bones, pig ears, pig feet.
So was that a true rumor?
No.
Was that so? There was a rumor that you didn't want. Who did you not want to draft you?
Philadelphia.
And you went home and gained how much weight?
I gained like 20 pounds in 2 days. So what happened was, this is a true story. So the Sixers flew me in about, back then they had a hard salary cap.
Yeah.
So I would have had to get a 1-year deal for $75,000. And I'm like, I didn't leave college. I left college after for $70,000.
You was getting paid more than that at Auburn.
Allegedly.
I'm
never going to turn on my college. So we fly me to Philly, because I played at 300 pounds in college.
Yeah.
What?
I did. Yeah.
How did you move?
The round mound of
really
rebound.
well.
Really well.
Really well.
300?
Oh, yeah. So the Sixers fly me in about a month before the draft, and they says, we want to see if you're going to get in shape. People were concerned. So they said, we want you to get down. Actually, when I went to Philly, I weighed 294, somewhere right there. And he said, we want you to get down to 285 before the draft. So I actually go to Houston and live down there for the summer with my agent, who turned into a crook. I don't want to mention his name. Lance Lesnick stole all my money. But I got down about 285. That's the first time I met Moses, who's the greatest influence in my basketball life. I got down about 285. And then we sit down, like, Philly wanted me to stop there the night before the draft to weigh me. And my agent says, listen, Philly called. They want to draft you, but they want to see that you get down to the 285. I said, well, I'm 285. I'm good. They're like, he said, well, there's a problem. You know, the Sixers draft you, they can only give you $75,000. I said, I didn't leave college for $75,000. So we went on a 2-day eating binge. We went to Dennis in the morning, went to a big steakhouse for lunch, went to a big steakhouse for dinner. We did it 2 days in a row. I went from 285 to 297 in 2 days. So I step on the scale in Philly. I weigh like 297. The owner's calling me, MFing me, you lazy fat, you blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whew, that was close. I thought these fools was going to draft me for $75,000. So we go up there. And then the guy says, David says, with the 5th pick, the Philadelphia 76ers select Charles Barkley. And if you go back and look at the tape, I got this look on my face. I'm like, oh, my God. And it was crazy. But the Sixers traded 2 players. And my first deal was 4 years, $2 million. But it was crazy. I was like, when they picked me, man, I was like, oh, my God.
It's so funny how things work out that way.
Yeah.
So New Jersey was awful. They were awful. They had won like 26 games. The only thing, and this is take you back, the only thing that I remembered about New Jersey net basketball is a statement that you made. So I was in college, and I remember watching TNT, and Steph Marbury decided to have surgery at the end of the season, right, with like 15 games to go. And he wanted to have surgery on his pinky, and so he made a statement. He was like, yo, if we had a chance of making the playoffs, then I wouldn't have surgery on my pinky. And I just remember in my head, like, man, that's crazy. And then you're like, well, if that was the case, he should have had surgery on this pinky 5 months ago. And I was like, damn, Charles, that's kind of harsh. I'm like, it's true. They've been out of the playoff hunt for about 5 months. Yeah. He wanted to wait till like 3 weeks to go. And so that was all I remember. I won 27 games in college that year. And so I had a terrible workout for Jersey. I didn't care. I think my high school or my college girlfriend at the time was in New York. So I was just trying to get done with all my tests. Didn't do anything. Byron calls me, right? So this is what happens. I was dating a girl, and it was like, with the 13th pick, the Houston Rockets select Richard Jefferson. And I'm like, oh yeah, they had Coutinho, Steve Francis. I was like, we're going to be good. And then all of a sudden they were like, we have a trade to announce. The Houston Rockets trade the rights to X, Y, and Z to New Jersey. Byron Scott calls me and he goes, hey Richard, and I'm just depressed, right? And I was like, hey, what's going on, coach? He's like, well, I can tell by your voice. Don't worry. I think, we got some things that are going to make you happy. This. And he hangs up the phone. He later tells me, he's like, man, I was so fucking mad. Yeah. He was like, the fact that I'm trying to convince a rookie that we just drafted to be happy. And then the next day is when they traded Jason Kidd. Ugh. And then I was just like, oh, yeah. This is going to work out just fine. It's crazy, the stuff that happened. I've been in this thing since 1984. Yeah.
I remember – actually, Cleveland is important in my career because they actually ruined my Philadelphia career.
What'd they do?
Well, I remember we had the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And we were awful. Mm-hmm. And I was just dying. I had no help. It was a pain. I'm like, oh, my God. I'm going to get Brad Daugherty, and it's going to change my fortune. I'm like, this is going to be great. So we went out and celebrated. Like the night before the draft, me and some of my teammates. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I'm finally going to have some help. We're going to be good. I just saw Brad Daugherty at a charity golf tournament. I miss him. And I'm like, man, I can't. I was so excited. I said, we're going to be good. We get Brad Daugherty.
Yeah.
So we go out. We get home in the middle of the night. I'm laying there about 6 o'clock in the morning. This guy named Phil Jasner, a great writer from Philadelphia, he says, Charles, Phil, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. What you want? He says, I know it's a little early, but I got to ask you what you think of the trade. I said, what trade? He said the 76ers just traded the number 1 pick in the draft. I said, Phil, this is not even a funny joke. I said, the Sixers are not that stupid. Drunk. I said, they're not that stupid to trade the number 1 pick in the draft. He's like, yeah, they did. I said, let me call you back in like 30 minutes. Let me sober up a little bit. So I jump in the shower, sober up a little bit. I said, Phil, so tell me what's going on. He says, y'all traded the number 1 pick. I said, for who? Y'all traded for Roy Henson. Oh. I said, what? I says, this is a joke. This is not even a funny joke either. He said, yeah, y'all traded number 1 pick for Roy Henson. And I says,
and what else?
No. He says, Oh, and it gets worse. I said, it can't get worse than trading the number 1 pick in the draft. He says, you traded Moses Malone to Washington for Jeff Rulin, who never played with me, and Cliff Robinson. I said, so let me get this straight. We had the number 1 pick in the draft. We had Moses, who ended up playing like another 5 or 6 years, who was a great mentor to me. Moses is the most important person because Moses made me lose 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Because I told you, I was 300 in college. Moses got me down to 250.
I want to get back to that.
Yeah. And he said, I said, wait, so we lose the number 1 pick in the draft, and I get Roy Hanson, who's a solid player, but not Brad Daugherty. Then we trade Moses, who's my mentor, the most important person, for Jeff Rulin, who hadn't played in a year, and Cliff Robinson. I said, this is crazy. This is crazy. And that's why every time I see Brad Daugherty, I say, man, we could have been really nice because he was a hell of a player.
Yeah, he was. Very, very good player for the Cavs.
So I'm always going to be intertwined with the Cavaliers in that aspect.
How much longer did you play in Philly after that amazing event?
Probably another four years or more.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year Brad Daugherty came to the NBA, but probably for another 4 years. Because I got traded out of Phoenix in '92. So I played my first 4 years, my first 8 years in Philly. So probably another four years.
You wanted to go back to that?
Yeah. I want to dive into the influence and the impact of Moses on you.
Moses was the most important person because it's so funny, Ali, when I tell you this story. I said, because I wasn't getting to play. And Moses says, I said, Moses, we actually lived in the same building. So I said, Moses, can I come talk to you after practice? He said, sure. He was great. You know, that's the one thing I think a lot of these guys miss in the NBA with drafting these young kids. We had Moses, Dr. J, Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney, Bobby Jones, Clint Richardson, Clement Johnson. All these guys were older.
So the year disparity was what?
Oh, I'm like 21, 22, and they're like 35, 36.
Okay.
Yeah. They taught me how to dress. They taught me how to save my money. They taught me how to be a professional. They taught me a lot of things. But Moses, I went up there. I said, Moses, why am I not getting to play? And Moses, well, young fella, you're fat and you're lazy. And I'm like, I'm not sure how to take that. And he says, which part, the fat or the lazy part? And he says, Charles, you're only lazy because you're fat. He says, you can't play in the NBA at 300 pounds.
Too many games.
Too many games. First of all, the players are too good. Yeah. He says, if you want to be great, he said, I think you got so much talent, but you got to lose some weight. He said, let's start small. He said, lose 10 pounds. Okay, so then I get to 290. I feel a lot, just working out and eating better. So then he says, so now I'm starting to really, because you can work a lot harder. So now I'm starting to work hard. He said, I need you to lose 10 more pounds. So then I'm at 280. Now I'm actually getting to play. And I'm making a difference. He says, let's get to 270. And I get to 270. Now I'm getting a lot of playing time. Now I'm almost starting. Then he said, let's get to 260. I get to 260. Now I'm starting. And I'm making a really nice little thing. I get to 250. Now I'm really not just starting. I'm playing really well. I actually got to 240. And I suppose I don't feel strong and powerful. He says, well, 250 is your weight.
Well, especially considering that you're like 6'3". Right? So
I'm 6'6", man.
So
I'm going to go to my
You went from 6'4" to 6'6". Did you hear that? You go, I'm 6'6".
You know, everybody lies. I've been telling people I've been 6'6". I'm really 6'4.5", but I've been telling people I was 6'6" my whole life. But yeah, he got me down to 250, and the rest is history. I mean, he was amazing. I miss him. I call him Dad for all his life, and it was not cool, but kind of cool. His family asked me to do the eulogy at his funeral a couple years ago, and it's one of the greatest responsibilities I've ever had. And I was just telling when I was speaking at the funeral, it was really weird too, because the Friday night was the Hall of Fame. The Saturday was the Hall of Fame weekend. So I got a chance to see him, because every time I told him, I said, hey, Dad, how you doing? I love you, right? I saw him that Friday night at the Hall of Fame. And then the induction ceremony was Saturday. And I was going to L.A. to shoot a commercial. So when I landed in L.A., I had 50 911 texts from friends. I'm like, oh, something's happened. And as soon as I land, I call. I said, what happened? What's going on? They're like, they found Moses Malone dead this morning. Because I was going to L.A. and he was going to Virginia, where he's from, to do his golf tournament. And I guess he didn't wake up. So it wasn't painful, thank God. But when I landed in L.A., I was going to shoot a Capital One commercial. And like I say, 911 from a bunch of my friends. They were calling to check on me, see how I was doing. I didn't know anything. That was one of the most toughest days. I told them, I say, we can't shoot today. We need to move this thing to tomorrow. But it was really tough on me. And I'm going to miss that guy because he's great.
You know, you made a really, really valid point. You said that I think you were talking about Philly, and this was a couple years ago when they were really, really struggling, and they had no veteran on their team.
Yeah,
and they were tanking, and they were trying to get higher picks, and they were trusting the process, and they were doing this. But even the guys that they did have there, they had no veteran there to show them how to be a professional, and that's one of the things. Like for me, I don't like the one and done, which I think is stupid. I think everyone has their own opinion, but it was like. When you go
What's your opinion on the one and done?
Well, my thing is that I was the 13th pick in the draft. That year was the year that Kwame Brown, Sagana Yap, Tyson Chandler, Eddie Curry, they all came out.
Yeah.
So I was a little mad because I felt like I probably would have been top 10 had all those high school kids not come out. But
with the exception of Tyson Chandler, you've had a better career than all those guys.
Well, but my biggest thing about that is that I went to school for 3 years.
Yeah.
And here I am playing my 17th year. Jason Terry, who I played with, went to school for 4 years, and he's playing 19 years. Don't tell me that if you go to school, it devalues you. It actually prepares you to play in bigger games. It prepares you, in my opinion. Tim Duncan played 4 years.
Yeah. Everybody did.
Everybody did.
Who's saying that it devalues you?
No, they do. They say the longer you stay in school now,
as a player,
it devalues you. So, like, if you're freshman year, then maybe your sophomore year.
From what, skill?
No,
they said if you stayed in college, you must not be good enough.
Good.
That's what the underlying current says.
Yeah, and so I'll give a point of this, right? And I've talked about this on here. My Final Four, right? And this was 17 years ago, but my Final Four was on North Carolina. It was Michigan State. Had Jason Richardson, Zach Randolph, Charlie Bell. My team had me, Gilbert Arenas, Luke Walton. Duke had Chris Duhon, Jason Williams, Shane Battier, Carlos Boozer, Mike Dunleavy, and then who was the team? Maryland had Juan Dixon, Steve Blake, Wilcox. So it's like, wait a second. When we had the one and done, the Final Four had 20 pros in it. When you were allowed to go one and done, you had 20 pros, guys that were going to play 10 plus years and be impactful throughout the NBA. But then all of a sudden you make this one and done, and now the Final Four, it just looks, how many pros were in the Final Four this year?
Well, I hate one and done.
Yeah.
I hate it for two reasons. Number one, they're not ready for the NBA. But my biggest problem is the way the draft is designed, bad teams are supposed to get help.
Established players.
Not a guy who might be good in 5 years. I think that's not fair to the fans.
Yeah.
And the thing I always tell people, I've been in the NBA for 30 years. There's only one player that I've seen who was ready for the pros, and that was LeBron.
Yeah.
I said, even as great as Kobe Bryant was and Kevin Garnett and those guys, they struggle early in their career. People forget.
Yeah.
LeBron's the only guy I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying it because I'm doing
but physically.
Yeah, physically.
Yeah.
And like
Dwight Howard was
but he has so many holes in his game.
True.
What are the similarities, parallels with Ben Simmons?
Well, Ben Simmons to me is a perfect example of a guy who's because I think red shirt is important.
Yeah, he had 2 years.
2 years. So but that's what I would like to see. Two guys stay in college for 2 years. Because it was so funny. We were doing this thing when I was doing March Madness this year, and 5 of the guys on Villanova's team all redshirted, and they're all going to go pro too. They all redshirted, and they did this whole segment about Jason. We told Bridges, Mikal Bridges, you're not ready to play. First of all, he still weighs 180 pounds, but he says you're not ready to play. We're going to redshirt you. They had like 5 guys. We did a whole special when we were up at CBS on them, and I said, see, this is my advantage, what Ben Simmons' advantage is, because when you redshirt, you get bigger, stronger, you get better coaching, and plus the game slows down for you. So he has a huge advantage being a redshirt.
Over Donovan Mitchell?
Thank
you. That's my rookie of the year.
Yeah.
That's my rookie of the year.
See, we had this argument every year. Same thing happened with Blake Griffin. a couple years ago. I said, I don't think it's fair for guys who are not true rookies to be Rookie of the Year because you're getting bigger and stronger, great coaching. That's
you
a
get
huge
experience.
Yeah.
Just sitting there.
And this is another thing that a friend pointed out to me, and it won't be as stupid as what Erica said. It was Ben Simmons is not going to be a free agent the same year as Donovan Mitchell. Ben Simmons is not getting paid on the first year of a rookie deal. Yeah. So it's like he got paid for a full year, and so with all of that money that you're able to get trainers, you're able to get you're able to do all of these things. Donovan Mitchell did not know who his team and who his coach was going to be until the end of June. Right, like till the end of June. So he didn't know what system. He didn't know who his teammates. He didn't know anything. He replaced an All-NBA player in Gordon Hayward and then took him to the play. And
not to mention the position on the floor that he steps into.
Oh, yeah, he steps in. Like Ben Simmons is amazing. People, it's not like all of a sudden you say, I believe this person be Rookie of the Year and the other guy's not good. Yeah. It's just the fact that it's comparable and this other person had a huge advantage.
I agree.
That's something. And I think just for a guy like Donovan, I think it would be it's hard to watch him lose a Rookie of the Year given the year that he's had.
And first of all, you have to give Ben has a huge advantage of the players he's playing with. Yeah. Also, I mean, you playing with Joel Embiid, Dario Saric, JJ Redick.
Yeah.
I mean, we did this thing about talking about Rookie of the Year. I says, okay, who's the second best player on Utah? And Kenny says, Gobert. Ernie says, I agree with Gobert.
Yeah.
And that's, well, who's the third best player? And they're like,
Jay Crowder.
Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, I
Joe
know.
Ingles.
I know.
Ingles favors.
But it's a toss-up.
Yeah.
Like, in Philly, you're like, oh, he got Joel Embiid. He got Saric. He got JJ Redick.
You got Marco Bellinelli, a championship.
But now, wait a second. One other key thing, too, is that team is built around Ben Simmons' talent, and they've known what they've had, and even come the deadline and in the playoff deadline, they go and get Ilyasova, they'll go and get Bellinelli because these guys match who he is.
Yes.
Well, and so it makes his game easier. And so for Donovan, he is a scoring guard that has to be efficient, that has to make the right plays, that has to fit into that system, that has to make free throws.
Nobody picked Utah to make the playoffs this year.
No.
And for what he's done, I agree with you. He should be Rookie of the Year. I know Ben is going to win it.
Yeah.
But what Donovan has done has been amazing.
And they said that you can't split votes. So for all the people that are talking about the co-Rookie of the Year, which I think would be the only fair thing to do.
I think it would be fair. I mean, we've done that before.
Yeah, I was going to say you
But
can.
they were saying then you can't split votes. They were saying, I was saying now you can't split votes. Back then, you could give half a vote to Jason Kidd, half a vote to
but the NBA,
Brandon.
I wish they would step in and just do the right
thing. Oh,
yeah,
they should fix it the same way they do the draft.
Listen, we don't care what the vote is. We're going to give it to both of y'all.
Yeah.
It'd be fair, and I think everybody would be happy.
And I think it's deserving. So because even if you look at him in the playoffs, he hasn't missed a beat.
Oh, man.
And that's what I try to tell people. You don't know how hard it is to score 20 points every single night in this league with everyone trying to stop you. He's never seen these defenses before. Yeah. He's never seen this. And then to go in the playoffs, I didn't even show up till the second round. In my rookie year, my first playoff series, I was non-existent. It took me a minute to understand the intensity and the focus. And in the second round, I kind of started understanding, started playing a little bit more intense.
Well, you did say something very interesting then. I remember when I first became a star, man, to go out there and have to get 20 points every night, it's
hard.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, it is unbelievable. That's why I admire guys who are, first of all, I always tell people, everybody in the NBA can play, but then there's stars, there's all-stars, then there's superstars. I says, to go out there and get 25 points a night, man, what the defense is designed to stop you.
Two people at you.
Yes.
In your mind, what separates a superstar from an all-star?
Guys who can do it. Some guys just have good years, and they just real good players. But there's only one or two guys who are superstars.
Current, you're saying?
Yeah. Right LeBron's a superstar. KD's a superstar. James Harden's a superstar. Steph.
Russ.
No one's listening. No one's listening. No one's listening.
Russ has not figured out how to make everybody around him better. That he got to figure that out. Like, he's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
But he's got to learn to make players around him better, because that team should be better. If you give me Carmelo and Paul George and Steven Adams, who I think is probably the most underrated player in the league. I love Paul. I love him.
Yeah.
I love Steve. But that team should be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's up, Road Trippin' fans? Even though Richard and Channing are no longer with the Cavs, they'll always be looked at as either an old married couple or teammates for life. Uninterrupted and State Farm are getting together to bring you The Sixth Sense, where NBA teammates like Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner show how they get each other like no other, the way RJ and Channing do here on Road Trippin'. Check out the latest episode of The Sixth Sense on youtube.com/uninterrupted, and maybe you can get a teammate off the court that gets you too.
This leads me to an interesting topic, and we actually talked about this before. For you in your position right now, how hard is it? Is it hard to...
How hard is it? Is it hard?
So is it hard? Is it not hard?
Okay.
To do what you do every night on TV, hold your credibility, but also talk about players and give your honest...
Yeah. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
It is.
I mean, I get calls from players and agents and coaches all the time because my credibility is my number one thing.
Yep.
But you can't. It's impossible to make everybody happy. It's impossible not to be critical at times because people just see what they see. I can't say you didn't see that. That's to answer your question. It's impossible, but guys want me to say you didn't just see what you saw. No matter how bad they played, how whatever, good or bad, everybody wants you to tell them great things all the time, and that's impossible.
It's the comment section in Instagram. I know you're not a social media guy.
I do know social media,
but I'm just saying you can on Instagram. You can post a photo. You can have 200 positive comments, and people only focus on the four negative comments. And you're just like, wait a second, you just had 500 positive things said about you. You had 10,000 likes, and then there's 5 people on there. They could be trolling or another. It's like, oh, you suck. I hope you die. And you're like,
that's unfortunately not always the case.
That's not.
Yes, it is. There's always.
But I'm talking about for athletes.
You can't please everybody.
No, what I'm saying is there's a lot of instances where it's all negative. That's what I'm saying. Social media is such an open platform for that.
It's different for you because you're a woman. There's a double standard when you're a woman. I've seen and heard. I got a lot of women friends who are in the business, and they've shown me some things. There's a double standard when you're a woman. Guys don't. They're so sexist and just such assholes, to be honest with you. And fans are crazy to a certain degree. They want you to say everything positive about their team. They want you to say everything positive about their favorite player. And if you deviate from that in any way,
it's personal.
It's personal. And they're going to go at you. Especially if you're a woman, you just like I say, I stay away from that. I eliminate all social media out of my life because because Ernie gonna say, Charles, who you picking tonight? I'm gonna pick this team, and then Kitty and Ernie will show me something about. They have to pick teams also. They're like, look at some of the stuff these people are saying to me because I didn't pick their team. Like we really care about rat's ass who wins.
Well, no,
I never care.
You don't care.
I don't care at all.
You're just giving an opinion.
First of all, I tell people, I just want it to be over. So I just want to play golf and fish every day. I'm ready for summertime. I get 4 months vacation. I play golf and I fish every day. I don't care.
You fish?
I do. I love it.
Oh, we are really connected.
Oh, you fish?
Here we go.
My mom just went walleye fishing this weekend.
Did she really?
Yeah.
You know, growing up in Alabama, my grandmother, who's the greatest person in my life ever, we grew up really poor. It was me and my brothers and my mother. My mom was a maid. My grandmother worked at a meat packing factory. So she went fishing pretty much 4 or 5 days a week for us to have extra meat.
Oh, wow.
We had a lot of fried fish.
So good,
that explains the 300 pounds.
Yeah, that and the pig we killed every summer.
No big deal.
Yeah, so growing up, me and my brother, we had to go dumpster diving. We had to go to Birmingham and go dumpster diving. So, like, me and we grew up in the projects. So me and, like, 3 or 4 of the other families, we bought 1 pig a year. So me and the other kids, my grandfather had a pickup truck, and we would drive to Birmingham, which is about 20 minutes, 30 minutes away. And we would dive. We would go around to every supermarket in town and go dumpster diving to get all the nasty stuff, food.
Yeah.
To take back to the farm. And we all pooled our money in the neighborhood, and we bought like 3 or 4 pigs a year. and right before winter, we would kill the pig.
And have a ton of meat.
And we spent like the whole summer dumpster diving, feeding these pigs. And then right before winter, we would kill them.
Kill the pigs.
Yeah.
We had a hog farm too.
Did you?
Yeah, and they would slaughter the
Here we
pigs.
go.
We had baby pigs, and then you
Oh.
watch them grow, and then you take them to the fair, and then you slaughter them.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That sounds so vicious.
It's horrible.
Gosh, like some Charlotte Wedge shit over here.
We don't use the word slaughter. We just gonna kill them.
We're just gonna kill him. Yeah. So it's like, was it humane? It was like, I don't know.
No, because if I remember, you shot him in the head, and then you had to hit him with a sledgehammer.
So you basically slaughter them.
Yes.
PETA, please,
but then you
please
would
tag
then
us
we
in
would
anything.
sit them away, and then like a week later, like 40 to 50 little white packets would show up at your house with something, with different what part of the feet,
Hey,
food. Like I say,
tasted good.
chitlins, pig ears, pig
pig's
feet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable.
Gosh, that's I can't relate to that shit.
Fishing is much better.
No, I
Fish
was.
is
Oh
good.
man,
Fish
my
is great.
grandmother, being from Alabama, we went fishing every weekend. But like I say, main thing, my grandmother, we had just because two of my brothers have passed away. I got one brother left. My mother and grandmother are both gone. My dad lives in California. But growing up, it was my mom, my grandmother, and my brothers, and we would always struggle to make ends meet. And my grandmother would fishing every day to supplement our food supply.
So what kind of fishing do you do now?
I do. I hate deep water.
Yeah.
I'm a lakes and ponds guy.
Fly
Okay.
fishing.
Yeah. No, I have not been
Perch?
fly fishing.
I've been fly fishing, and that's
No,
a lot.
Walleye?
No.
Perch, walleye? Bluegill?
No.
What do you fish?
Bass,
Oh, bass,
trout,
okay.
brim, catfish,
Catfish,
things
yeah.
like that. First of all, we.
Can you gut it? Can you cut it?
No.
Gut it? You can't.
What?
No, that's
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Oh,
Well,
you should come to our neck of the
raised in a
woods.
farm? Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't do any of that stuff.
My dad goes once a year to Canada. They go for a week,
Oh,
and
my
they come
God.
back with like 2,100 bluegill.
Oh,
but
my financial advisor goes to Canada. Him and the guys go to Canada every summer, and they live in the wilderness like animals. They invite me every year. They're
ice
like,
fishing and shit.
No,
Yeah.
they go up there every summer, and they live in a cabin, like 8 of them.
you're on the water at like 4 a.m.
And I'm like,
When it's
no,
quiet.
we gonna stay at the Ritz. I'll go. I'm not gonna go live in a
You
cabin.
worked really, really,
Really hard to be spoiled
To
rotten.
be
Yes.
Oh,
you.
Richard.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
gosh.
No, me and my wife got into an argument, a really bad one, a really, really bad one, because
Should you be telling this?
yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
So she gets mad at our Packers. So obviously we didn't make the playoffs in Denver, and so she got mad at the people that were packing. It was like, oh, don't worry. She's like, hey, can you just unpack your or can you just pack up your clothes? And I was like, no. And she was like, what? Why not? Just pack your clothes. Like, don't worry, I'll do the rest of the house. You just pack your clothes. I'm like, no, I'm not going to pack. And she was just like, why are you being so spoiled? Like, just pack. And I was like,
You earned the right to be spoiled.
Thank you, Charles. Like, as someone that
You running up and down the court all these years.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I was like, no. And she was like, look, okay, you go to L.A. and I'll do this. And I was like, or you can go to L.A. and I'll stay here and do this. And she was like, well, what are you just going to pay somebody to do this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna pay someone to do this. I've been doing this for years. The least amount of stress.
They're
going to
do it better.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. They're gonna do it better. You're gonna have to pay a premium, but if you don't have to do it, that's
Yeah.
worth every dollar you can afford.
I try to do as little as possible.
God, this is a man.
I've earned the right.
This is a man that
I've
understands.
earned the right to chill out.
Thank you.
I feel like, Richard, when you get into broadcasting, it's kind of along the lines that you're going to be like Chuck.
Oh, 100%. This has been
I really do.
But that's why I'm trying to pick his brain as much as possible. I haven't.
Hey, Road Trippin' fans, one thing we know is that buying tickets, yep, it can be complicated and confusing, but here's the deal. There's a better way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every type of live event. Whether you're searching for a last-minute deal, planning a night out with friends, or need to find the perfect gift, SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices, fully guaranteed. Here's what you need to know. SeatGeek is designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. It saves you time and money by searching multiple ticket sites to compare prices and find amazing deals. And to get you the most bang for your buck, SeatGeek grades every ticket based on value to help you immediately identify the best seats that fit your budget. Plus, every purchase is fully guaranteed, so you can shop for tickets on SeatGeek with confidence. Make SeatGeek your go-to app for finding the best deals on every type of ticket, from sports and concerts to comedy and theater. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone, and it's by far the easiest way I found to shop for tickets. I can be anywhere in with just a few taps. I can instantly find seats. I actually just used SeatGeek to buy tickets to the most recent Eric Church concerts at Quicken Loans Arena. Boy, does he put on a good show, and thanks to SeatGeek, getting those seats were easy, efficient, and made the experience worth the while. Best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code ROAD today. That's promo code ROAD for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
I want to go back to when you talked about how impossible it is. Again, I grew up watching you. One of my first finals memories is you versus MJ. Because
he always brags about your commercials together.
Yeah. So because that was a highlight of my thing. I had a couple of Nike commercials with Chuck. No one cares because this was before YouTube. But if you guys go really, really deep in there, you're going to see that. I used to be able to do a little bit, but. Your relationship with Michael, being on Bron's team when Bron got a little on the sensitive side and got a little frustrated and started throwing some shots. And that's the part that you are so well respected from older players to younger players. You were a generational talent. We're going to get into your Nike commercial. I'm not a role model, but how does that impact you, personally? When it's
me and Michael aren't friends anymore because of that. That was tough. For a guy who I loved like a brother and felt like a brother who we were together for a lot of years. But I was asked a question about his GM skills. Yeah. And I said...
he just hired a new one, Mitch Kupchak from the Lakers.
Yes, but this is way back.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who we were really, really close. Yeah. And I was asking a question. I said, he's never going to be successful as a GM as long as he's hired his friends. I said, you can't hire your friends because your friends are never going to be honest with you. Yeah. Because they want the private jet. They want you to always pick up the check. So you need to have people around you who are going to be honest with you. And I said that, and I stick by that. He went ballistic. Yeah. And we haven't spoken in a lot of years, and that's unfortunate. I miss him. I love him. I wish him nothing but the best. But, Richard, you got to do your job. Yeah. Because I can't get on – if I get on team and say he's done a great job as GM, you're going to be like, he has?
Yeah. Then it affects your credibility and affects your ability to make money.
I have a question, though. After all the years, how can something like that –
Players are sensitive. People are sensitive. Very sensitive.
You work with Bron. You work with Kevin. You work with
But I just
Kyrie,
feel like you had such an awesome that you guys haven't been able to.
No, because he's. I'm not sure what he wants. I stick by what I said. That has nothing to do with our friendship either. That was my job. And even like LeBron, who, and I've said this before. I think LeBron James' story is the greatest thing ever happened in sports history. For an 18-year-old kid to come into the NBA, be that good, and then become great, never get in a stitch of trouble in today's world. I think it's one of the greatest stories for a guy to be as great as he is as a player, to go from 18 to now and never even sniffed. I mean, the only thing people ever got mad about Bron was the decision. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of the greatest, if not the greatest story in sports history. And I got mad at him for talking about he needs some help. I said, wait, you got Kyrie, you got Kevin Love.
Richard Jefferson.
Yeah. You got all these guys, and you talking about you don't have enough help. I said, you want all the good players? Because he has to take some responsibility for starting this super team thing. He has to.
Richard has a different opinion.
Well, he can. That's the good thing about opinions.
Okay. Super team, fine. But would you compare what Bron did to what KD did?
Yes.
How can you do that? Because this is what I'm saying. What was Miami's record prior to the year before Bron showed up?
Yeah, when you get all the great players together and y'all conspire.
Wait, that's like you, Pippen, Clyde Drexler.
We were old, like 75 years old.
But that's fine.
And we got traded, number one.
To trade? Oh, okay. So
we got traded.
Okay, so the buddy deal.
The buddy deal's different.
So the buddy deal of Pau Gasol and Jerry West going to L.A., or the buddy deal of Kevin McHale sending KG to Boston. But you guys got traded in Houston. This is what I'm saying.
Those are all trades, though.
I know. Again,
we didn't go on the banana boat and say, "Hey guys, let's get together."
That happened after the fact.
Yeah. So my thing is this. My thing is this, and I've I get into it with people and crack jokes about it. The only difference is that team wasn't successful. Like Kevin Durant, who to me is the second best player on the planet. And to have him go and join a 73-win team that already won a championship. But it's not the criticism. I'm just saying those two types of super teams are different. That'd be like LeBron not going to Cleveland or not going to Miami, but LeBron going and joining the Big Three in Boston. He went to a team that hadn't won a championship.
Yeah, but they conspired. That's what pissed us off.
That's the conspiring. Okay.
Like, hey, let's get together, us three.
Yeah.
Like, that's what bothered us as older players.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, because first of all, everybody wants to win, but you want to compete against the best. Because what KD did was wrong too. Because KD actually had the best team.
Yeah, yes, they did.
They had the best team.
Harrison Barnes.
Yeah. What?
Told that.
Yeah, Harrison Barnes came on here. And
they
said
had
that.
the best team.
Yeah,
and so it really bothered us. Like I say, let me tell you this, and I hope LeBron stays in Cleveland too. I think it'd be great for the NBA. I'd be really disappointed if he went to LA. Or Houston. I mean, there's so many rumors out there. I hope he stays in Cleveland and finishes his career there because I think it's just a great story. And I remember I was in L.A. shooting a commercial, and it was early in the morning, and I was listening to Colin Cowherd in the morning, and he read that Sports Illustrated thing. Everybody was waiting on LeBron to make a decision, and I remember calling Colin. I said, "Man, that's one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of as a fan."
Yeah.
I was so happy when he went back to Cleveland.
So was I.
And I hope he finishes his career there.
Yeah.
Because it's just great first of all, it's great for the NBA. I think Cleveland is an underrated city. It gets a bad rap because of the Browns, I think, more than anything.
What do you think, Cleveland or San Antonio?
Well, San Antonio is different because they just got the Spurs.
Yeah.
They got the greatest, in my opinion, other than the Celtics and the Lakers, they're the greatest basketball franchise ever.
Yeah.
What Popovich has done, and number one, shout out to Coach Pop, and my blessings and thoughts with him and his family on the loss of his wife.
Yes.
But what they've done in San Antonio is remarkable. But Cleveland's different because Cleveland's like a big city.
Yeah.
You know,
They got every team.
They got every team.
They got.
And it's all right there.
Yeah, it's all right.
I mean,
it's a good time.
And the thing I like about it is when you spend some time there, like, oh man, we can go see the Indians.
Yeah.
Oh man, the Browns are starting practice.
Yeah.
Oh, they got the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the Browns are the number one team in the town. Browns are we always joke about that. Like, what teams?
Oh, it's the Browns.
It's the Browns.
That's like in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's like the Eagles.
Yeah.
No matter how much success we had as the Flyers, or the Phillies,
Yeah.
or the Sixers,
it's
a
an
Philadelphia
Eagles.
town.
And that's in Boston. No matter what you say, it is a Red Sox town.
Yeah.
And then I would say Celtics, and
Yep.
then I would say Patriots.
Yep.
Right? Like that's the way. In L.A.,
Yep.
no matter what,
Lakers.
it's the Lakers.
Yep.
If you go to Chicago, it's the Cubs.
Yep.
Right? Now, Jordan and all the things that they did, it probably goes them, then the Bears,
Yep.
and then the Bulls.
Yep.
Now, but that just goes to let you know how
What
great of a sports town it is
Yes.
when the Bulls are probably the third most popular, and they're one of the great franchises in history.
And the thing that sucks about the Browns is, like, I want to, like, they have the best fans.
Yeah, they do.
And for them to be so bad for so long is crazy. But I'm really hoping they turn it around.
They're going. It's cyclical. They'll figure it out.
It's like Philly.
Yeah. One thing that I
Wait, cyclical.
Yeah.
When did y'all have y'all cycle in Cleveland? Brian
You
Sipe.
can't say y'all.
Brian Sipe.
What do you mean y'all? I
remember Brian
was
Sipe, Ernest Biner, and those guys.
See, I grew up an Eagles fan. My parents are from Philly, so I grew up on the Keith Byers,
Yeah,
Randall
yeah, yeah.
Cunningham, Reggie White. Those are the guys that I grew up watching.
That's what's cool about Philly, because I still live in Philly during the summer.
Yeah.
And when I was there as a player, like I said, I played my first 8 years there. You know, I went to a bunch. I'm a big hockey fan,
Yeah.
so I went to see all the Flyers. Ron Hextall is my favorite hockey player all time. Eric Lindros, Rick Tockett, who's the coach in Arizona now. Then I go see the Eagles play.
A lot to do.
And I'm like, Man, I'm hanging out with Jerome Brown, Keith Byers, Keith Jackson, Reggie White,
those are the guys.
Randall Cunningham, and I'm like, wow, this is cool.
Oh, my dad wouldn't go to church. Because back in the day before the package, like when we moved in like '89. We moved to Phoenix, and my mom and stepdad got married. Then we moved to Phoenix. He wouldn't go to church, and my parents are they were Christian missionaries. Blah blah. He wouldn't go to church if the Eagles were playing on TV that day because you only had like 2 channels, and it was if the Eagles were the game of the week. He just wasn't going. That
it's so funny talking to these kids today because they don't even realize like we got games on every single night now. When I got to the NBA before I got to the NBA, there was only a game on Sunday.
Yeah,
like Sunday afternoon, you're like, oh, and it was always going to be Philadelphia, Lakers, or Boston.
Yeah,
they were always in play.
Yeah.
That was the game of the week every Sunday. The finals were tape delayed.
Oh yeah,
I mean, but now,
finals. It was bad. That's what they were talking about, like Magic and what Larry helped change it around. Jordan took it to another level.
Yeah, the two most important people in NBA history. No disrespect to all the great old players who are amazing and open up a lot of doors for us, but Bird and Magic saved the NBA.
Yeah,
because it was thought of as a drug-infested bunch of crazy black guys, and Bird and Magic, they're like Arnold and Jack in golf, and then Tiger took it to another level. Michael Jordan took it to another level, but Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, single-handedly saved the NBA and made it what it is today. Michael took it to another level, obviously, but you look at golf, Jack and Arnie, they carried that baton for then Tiger took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, no, David Stern, that's when he took over.
Yeah, he took over the year I came into the NBA.
Started taking some things over. You guys had a pretty good relationship, I bet.
We did have a good relationship, unless you messed up.
Then
he's scary.
Yeah. Was Rod Thorne still?
Rod Thorne.
So Rod Thorne drafted me, and so
you had Michael Jordan.
Me and Michael Jordan. That's his claim to fame. I tell people all the time. That's who Rod Thorne drafted. But no, you're right. Like the NBA and what the point that I want to kind of get to next is you had that amazing commercial. Like I remember just recently I started getting all your like Air Max 95s because I couldn't afford them when you were playing in Phoenix. I couldn't afford them. So like these are the shoes, like the 180s, like these are the shoes now that I look forward to wearing because it reminds me of when I couldn't afford them, and now Nike just sends them to me, so it's kind of awesome. But you had that commercial where it's
You're
like,
so spoiled.
I'm so spoiled. Where
we're gonna ride this thing out.
Yeah, we're gonna ride this thing out as long as we can.
Hey, we grew up really poor.
Yeah,
it sucked.
It sucked.
We didn't know
dumpster diving.
We didn't know
slaughtering hogs.
I've never dumpster dived again.
No, but it just makes you enjoy every meal that you have right now.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But you had that commercial where it's like, I'm not a role model, and it was crazy. Like, I remember the impact. There were people that loved it, people that hated it.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was awesome. Like that was when, again, that was to me the golden era of Nike, right? It was like Michael Jordan, Pippen, you guys were taking that Nike thing to another level. The Dream Team.
Man, all these guys owe Michael a lot of love and credit because, Richard, it's so funny now. You look at Kobe, you look at LeBron and all these guys.
Their brands.
They're making $30, $40 million a year because of Michael.
Yeah.
Because nobody had shoes back then. Nobody had signature shoes back then.
Yeah, and it was just a huge impact. And I remember like those Nike commercials. They were trying to make statements.
Yeah,
they were trying to make statements similar to what Apple did later.
Well, so what happened was, I went to Howard White, who's been my mentor, who's Lynn Merritt now for LeBron.
Lynn, okay.
And Phil, I said I got this idea about a role model commercial. I want to make because. They're like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like,
"Yes."
No, I know. I said, "You don't understand." Because Richard, what I figured out, and it still bothers me to today because it's still going on. We got too many young black kids who think they're gonna make it in pro sports. I said, "You're not gonna make it in pro sports, but you can be a doctor, lawyer, teacher, fireman, engineer, something like that."
Yeah.
We need to get these kids to be more thinking about education and things like that. And I said, when I go speak at these schools. All these black kids, and unfortunately, a lot of these schools are still segregated.
Yeah.
So I started doing this little test. I said, well, how many of you guys want to play pro sports? Like at a black school, like 99% had their hands go up. But when I would go speak at predominantly white schools, I said, well, how many of y'all want to play pro sports? Only about 5 to 10% of their hands went up. I said, well, what do you want to do? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be an engineer, a teacher, fireman, policeman. So then I started taking stock. I'm like, yo, man, I got to stop these kids
From thinking
they can only be successful through athletics and entertainment.
What if it's what keeps them off the streets at that age?
Well, it can keep them off the streets,
Sports
but
can.
you got.
sports.
First of all, I love when kids play sports.
Okay.
But you should look at it as a way to get a free education, not that I'm gonna make it. So I was talking to a bunch of kids last night who came into the studio, and I said, "Well, how many y'all?" There was the Police Athletic League, and they wanted to talk to me, and I answered a bunch of questions. Well, how many players y'all think is in the NBA? They're like a couple thousand. I said, no, there's only like 400 players in the NBA. They look at me like, what? And I said, well, first of all, there's not really 400. I said, because LeBron's going to be there, so now I'm down to 399. I said, Kevin Durant's at 398. I said, realistically, guys, there's probably only 30, 40 jobs every year
that open up.
So I don't want you guys thinking I'm going to be one of the best 400 basketball players in the world. And that's I said you got to have a plan B, and that's education.
Plan B.
I always talk to them about education. I said, first of all, I wish, and Richard said this, and out of all the pro sports, I think we got the best one.
Yep.
You only play 3 or 4 days a week. We stay in the best hotels, get a couple $100 a day per diem. You make millions of dollars. The average NBA salary now is $5 million. I think the minimum is like $1 million. So you have a great living. You get 3-4 months vacation.
And if you're really bad, like 5 months.
Yeah. If you're really bad, you get like 5 months.
Yeah.
So I think we have the best job in the world out of all the pro sports. So I wish everybody could do it, but I'm also realistic. Mm-hmm. And it really frustrates me. That's like this thing going on with college now, talking about one and done and things like that. First of all, it bothers me when people say, well, these kids ain't getting nothing. I said, first of all, quit saying that. I hate when people tell young black men getting a free education ain't nothing. I said, first of all, they don't tell their own kids that. I says, listen, is it fair? Is the system fair? It ain't perfect. But do not sit here and tell me a guy getting a free education. I know so many people who are friends of mine who are still paying off college debt.
Yeah.
I say, the system is not perfect, and we need to keep making tweaks on it to make sure we take care of all these players. But I hate when I hear these guys get on TV and say, these kids ain't getting nothing. Well, they're getting a free education. And then the second they said, we got to pay the players. I said, okay, how are you going to pay the players? We paying the football team, paying the basketball team. Now we got to worry about paying the girls' teams.
Yeah, because it's going to be Title IX.
Title IX
is coming.
Yeah, then we got to pay the swimming team.
Start smirking when you start talking about Title IX.
Because,
it's the truth.
Because people, these idiots get on TV every day and say, they got to pay these players. I said, well, explain to me how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Because all this money they talking about, it ain't going to be a lot of money when you start paying every sport.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to pay every sport. Mm-hmm. We're going to pay the equestrian team, the diving team, the lacrosse team. I said, so quote unquote, all this money they're talking about everybody's making, which I don't think there are some big numbers thrown out there, but they pay for everybody's education, everybody's scholarship, everybody's equipment and things like that. So I want the best for the players, but I hate when guys get on TV and say, well, these killers, they're just screwing these players. They're not getting anything.
Well, they are getting something. I think when you start looking at, guys like Nick Saban, when you guys look at Calipari, these guys are making $7 million, $6 million. That's when you just start looking around. It's like, wait a second, these coaches are making this amount of money.
Yes.
The schools are making tons of money.
Yes.
They're selling jerseys with these kids' names on. Arizona, what they did is they stopped selling jerseys with particular numbers, and they just started selling jerseys with the particular year that the calendar year was on. So it was like the jersey would be Arizona, and then it'd be 18 on the back.
Well,
right?
I think
that's no fun though.
No, it is no fun. But
see, that brings up another problem. So it's funny you said it, Ali, because we had this conversation a lot, especially when I'm doing March Madness, and the guy says, "Well, why don't they let players just sell their own individual thing?" I said, "That's a great theory. You're just wrong." And I said, let me tell you why you're wrong. I said, that's great if you're a star. Yeah, it's great. But let me tell you something.
And then you start wanting to go to the market that's biggest.
No. But I'm talking just in college.
Yeah.
Listen, if I'm a big, fat, ugly offensive lineman and the quarterback and the running back, who I do all the work for, are making an extra $500,000 or $600,000 on their jersey, and I don't get a dime of it. You think there's going to be some resentment in the locker room? Because nobody's buying the offensive lineman's jersey. Yeah. They're going to buy the quarterback and the running back's jersey. And like I say, that's not smart. If I'm a defensive lineman, I'm like, wait a minute. Pretty boy quarterback making all the money, the running back, so.
That's the thing in basketball. They only got 2, maybe 3 faces of the team. In football, they only got like 3 faces. Like on basketball,
yeah.
You got the whole team. Everyone gets to see us. Yeah. Like every poster. Like that was the tension at Arizona when I was there. Not like tension, but it was like, the quarterback got plenty of attention because there's always those things. Football teams and basketball teams don't typically get along.
Were you jealous of the quarterback, Richard?
No, because we were the number 1 team in the country, and they weren't very good.
Yeah.
Did you win a title?
No, we lost in the national championship, but they didn't make it to a bowl game that year. So it was kind of
you were happy?
It made me feel a little bit better.
Have you been frustrated with the Arizona program lately?
It's funny you say that. I just went there and I talked to Sean Miller. I was just on campus. Lute Olson, who I love, who is like everyone's grandfather. He just got a statue. So me and Miles Simon, we went there and they did like a CATSES, which is like, imagine like the ESPYs for like Arizona athletes. So it's like all the athletes get dressed up, and it's just it's different. Just being in there and feeling the air, because the Arizona basketball program was really the pride of the university, right? The women's softball team, Coach Candrea, they were the swim team, the golf team, like they've had big, but the Arizona basketball one was the national program,
no question.
And so. Anytime a basketball...
I'm not picking you off for the Final Four anymore. You know that?
Don't. Because they haven't been there since I was there.
Let me tell you something. I have picked them 7 years in a row, and y'all have broken my heart. And people says, you only pick Arizona because you live there. I'm like, dude, they got a really good team.
And we've had really, really good teams. I think right now there is a little bit of a funk over the program right now. And it's like I was telling people, it's like, look, like we lost...
Well, first of all, let me
we
just say
we lost Shaq's son to UCLA,
I
right?
know.
And then... UCLA had 3 kids arrested in China. It's not like their program is perfect,
right?
Right?
But let me just tell you this about that kid, DeAndre Ayton.
Oh, he's a stud.
First of all, allegedly y'all gave him $100,000.
Yeah,
that's called a bargain.
A bargain.
That's a bargain.
A bargain. A bargain.
And let me tell you something. It must have been a closed bidding because I'd have gave more to go to Auburn.
Well, and truth be told, like even at the award show, and all the athletes were amazing. There were some amazing speakers. Chris McGee, Geeter, he emceed the event, but you could just tell, like the Arizona, like normally the program just had, there was so much pride, but just being around all the athletes, and you could just feel like, because again, like that's part of the college experience when. You're a swimmer and you're a baseball player and you're a basketball player or a softball player, and you guys are all buying like $20 handles of vodka, right? Because that's all you can afford, and you're throwing a house party, but you're all kind of in the grind together.
Yeah.
But when you hear that there's a kid that's getting paid $100,000 to go to the school, that causes tension. And all the athletes are and again, Sean, I had a great conversation with Sean, and one of the things that I told him, and I was like, dude, look, like you're our coach until you're not our coach.
Yeah.
Right? Like I support you. I support the program. If you say you didn't do it, and I say the same thing, it's like a family member. Yeah. It's like, you've been my brother. If you tell me you didn't commit the crime, I'm going to believe you until you're guilty.
Yes.
I'm not going to jump on your back and say, prove this, or you need to get fired. No, you're a family member. Until they show me, or until you are no longer our coach, I'm going to support you. Now, I'm not going to blindly support you, but if you tell me you didn't do it, I'll wait for all the facts to come out, and then we proceed from there. So,
that's a weird scenario because we got busted too.
Yeah, a lot of schools. But that's the thing. Now all of a sudden Kansas is in the fray.
Yeah.
North Carolina with their academic scandal. Like UCLA with the stuff that's been – like this goes on. Is part of the reason why they're having the conversation about the one and done is because this is rampant in college basketball.
Well, it's interesting because, listen, first of all, cheating been going on
since
forever.
Cheating.
Forever.
For cheating.
And now you got – the money is just so big. There's always going to be cheating.
National Cheating Association of Athletes. That's the NCAA.
But the NCAA they makes it worse.
Thank you. I just thought of that off my head.
They just make it worse though.
All
the bogus bullshit rules they got.
Yeah, no, that's the word. But look, I digress. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you about your commercial and what that impact. Today's athletes, MJ, Tiger, lots of athletes weren't social activists, right? Now that again, you like MJ after he won his copyright infringement, he donated all that money to like Chicago public schools or different. So I'm not saying that this man does not give back. I'm not saying Tiger doesn't do things for the community, but I'm just saying today's athlete versus when you guys were dominating, TV and everything are just so much more.
That's because of social media.
So you think again,
the world is different. The opportunity is
social
different.
media.
But
everybody
do you still
has a voice.
stand by the not a role model for the guys that are here, right? Like I'm not talking about for the kids that are growing up.
It depends on who's speaking. All these guys aren't smart enough to speak.
Yeah.
LeBron.
LeBron's smart enough to speak.
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick. First of all, he never speaks.
Yeah.
he never speaks.
Yeah.
Which is probably one thing that disappointed me about Kaepernick. Like, I love his stance, but he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
And he leaves it open for interpretation what's going on.
Yeah.
But I want guys to speak if they're capable of speaking. Because everybody's not capable, Richard. All these guys aren't rocket scientists.
No, well, that's part of the reason why you and I have jobs.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think you have to be really careful. I spoke to Coach Saban asked me to speak to this team this year before the season, and I talked to these guys about how different their life is than mine.
Yeah.
I says, this was in August, I think it was, and I said, they don't ask me about Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yeah.
In my day.
Yeah.
They don't ask me about kneeling for the anthem. And I said, you guys are 18 years old.
And they're asking about that.
They're asking you about that. That's tough. Because at 18, I'm not sure if you're equipped. And I says, as far as social media, there's somebody at Auburn who hates you, who going to say something to you on social media just to get a response out of you. And if you had a bad game, you're having a bad day with your girl, or you're drunk, or whatever, there's people who join you on social media just to piss you off.
Yeah.
And the thing that's funny about it's not even funny. They can say whatever they want to say to you.
With no repercussion.
With no repercussion. And if anything you say to them that's out of whack, out of place, it's going to be on there forever.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Well, it's like the shooter from Villanova. What's the kid's name?
DiVincenzo.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a couple of tweets that were from back in the day.
When he was, and then you find out that he was mimicking a rap song.
And it was I forgot what he was like balling on these niggas like I'm something. And I was I remember seeing the quote, and I remember looking at him like, well, technically he was.
Yeah.
Right? He was.
Yeah. But the thing is about it though, like he said that when he was 14. It's like
that's unfair. Like
it's very unfair.
That's what I'm saying. Me at 14, again, no social media. You like my rookie years when everyone got cell phones, right? So it was like not everyone had cell phones.
You had a big brick?
No, I didn't have. No, you guys.
I had the big brick.
But think about it. Remember back in the day, and I know we're reminiscing here, but they would tell you the bus time, and what you'd have to do. You had to remember it.
You had to remember it.
They would tell you, but there was no text message to go back and look. There was no sent multiple text messages.
It's that's why I was saying earlier. You have to really be. It's different for these guys now. Like, you can portray any thought in your head, good or bad.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous because some of these guys, you might be mad or you might be just not bright. Because you got to understand, a lot of these guys, they're 18 years old.
Yeah.
And your first thought, you're not sure what your first thought is. And you're like, Herm Edwards, who I really admire and respect, always says, don't push sin.
Don't push sin.
Don't push sin.
If you have to think about it, if you think about it longer than 3 seconds. So I don't have social media either.
Yeah.
And okay. So I use Road Trippin. I have my Snapchat, RJF24. Follow me. But I have Road Tripping Twitter and Instagram.
Let me ask you this here.
Tell me.
That's actually funny that you said it like that. Because I always say, what kind of loser follows somebody?
Well, now, but
like who wakes up in the morning and say, "Hey, I wonder what Richard Jefferson."
You know what's even crazier? That people tie the Cavs 2016 championship to Richard's Snapchat.
100%.
They think
it was all
that
my fault.
saved
it did.
Cleveland.
This. Now let me explain to you.
Crazy.
Now, let me show you the difference. Let me show you the difference.
You try to be dumb like my daughter.
No. Listen to me.
I'm gonna tell you my daughter. My daughter.
Will you listen to what I'm trying to say?
I know, but I want to tell you about my daughter. This is how dumb I love my daughter. So my daughter went to Villanova.
Okay.
I'm so proud of her. She's my only kid. I love her more than anything in the world. So a couple of years ago, she went to Villanova undergrad and just graduated from Columbia School of Journalism.
Okay.
So I'm at the Final Four a couple of years ago. She says, Dad, I want to come to the Final Four. I said, of course you can come. Just tell me what you need.
Yeah.
Then she comes. She says, Dad, I changed my mind. I said, why'd you change your mind? He says, I don't want to jinx the team. I says, wait a minute. You went to Villanova undergrad and Columbia grad school, and you're dumb enough to think that you at the game.
You can jinx the team.
Jinx the team.
Hey,
so she didn't come.
For caring.
She didn't come. So this year, she says, Dad,
I want to go.
What do you think? I says, Christiana, Villanova and Columbia, come to the game if you want to come. Be smarter than that. Yeah. So she comes down, and she's so excited they win the national championship. But this notion that what you're wearing and other stuff
I'm not a lucky guy. I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those people. Only thing I was saying is that what I did on my social media, it wasn't me. I wasn't really posting pictures of food and shit. All I did was show our group of guys cracking jokes on the bus. Our group of instead of ESPN getting the walk-in of what everyone's wearing, me and Channing, I would be Snapchatting as Braun would be walking on the bus, and we'd be making fun of the shit that he was wearing, like the matching suits that everyone was wearing.
Yeah. When he had to dress like the Cubs player?
Yeah, when he had to dress like a Cubs player. So it was like, again, everyone's seeing this content before ESPN does. Because it's like we're on the bus, so there's no cameras there. They don't get you until you get to the arena. So that's all I was doing. I was showing like behind the scenes of us fucking around, us like going to dinners, us hanging out in between rounds. So that's all I was showing. I wasn't really...
That has something to do with y'all winning?
100%. It changed the narrative. Right? Everyone thought we hated each other. And then all of a sudden, everyone did. And even still, there's always that tension around LeBron's team and his teammates and how he gets along with Kevin.
But he has to take some, like this year when I called him a drama queen.
Yeah.
He never diffuses it.
No, he likes it. I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you. Bron is one of those people that, and I love. Like again, that is my big little brother. I love the kid to death, and he is as good of a leader as you want. So let me say that. But now he likes it.
I know.
He loves poking the bear. Like this, like the Phil Jackson stuff and the posse stuff. He doesn't diffuse things. He doesn't just he's just like, oh, okay, this is what you guys want to do. And honestly, partly in my belief is that the game is so easy, and this is all he's ever known is attention and drama and focus. So it's like if he was Tim Duncan and just played basketball and went home, he'd lose his brain. He would lose.
That's what people live for, though.
No, but I'm just saying, Bron.
So
in general,
why should he be any different?
But I'm just saying, Tim Duncan can go home after a basketball game and not care about anything else. Bron is wired different.
Yeah, like he can diffuse some of the tension. Like,
but that's not.
He's going to get But I'm saying he likes it. Yeah. But he would cut down on a lot of drama in his life because first of all, people are going to talk to him anyway just because he's the best basketball player in the world. He makes stuff. He could cut down on the noise.
Do you think it's really drama to him though?
He just
when you have to talk about stuff all the time that's BS is yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anytime you have to respond to something, it takes time away from some good you could be doing or fun you could be doing.
He doesn't even spend that much on it though.
No, but it's not that. It's more of just saying that like there are like again doing the not to compare the two too much, but like Tim can go play basketball, talk to for reporters for 2 minutes, and go home and be the happiest person in the world. Sometimes there are guys that kind of thrive in a little bit of chaos, right? They like a little bit of tension.
Because it's going to be over at some point.
Yeah, and as long as it's not.
Who he reminds me of? Floyd Mayweather.
Oh yeah,
like who's retired 12 times, and now he's like
that's Richard. Richard's retired 12 times.
But then and Floyd says, "I'm coming back as an MMA guy." I'm like Floyd.
You get murdered. You get murdered in there.
It ends for everybody.
That's the thing, though. For Bron, it's not going to end.
It is going to
end.
Oh,
basketball. Basketball.
Yeah.
But he's bigger than basketball.
No.
What?
No.
What?
No.
What?
It's not so much.
Hey, all the other stuff is just window dressing. When you're not LeBron James anymore, no matter who you are, Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, it ends for everybody.
What happens when he goes in the front office?
It won't be the same.
It won't be the same. Like you see MJ, like MJ. Yeah, even MJ. You look at it like MJ. It's like.
When's the last time you talked about Michael Jordan?
Yeah,
and he's the greatest ever. Like I say, Wayne Gretzky, who's the greatest ever. Like when you're not that guy, you're just another guy. That's why I told him earlier, you play as long as you want to, as long as you can, because that's the greatest time in your life. But once it's over,
That's right.
it's like, oh, shit.
Oh, but that's why there's the depression that goes on.
But
the
I feel like
frustration.
Bron does such a good job of like being more than again. Like I hate to say
all that
like
other stuff is great,
but
it ain't gonna ever be the same as being LeBron James.
I could be the number one.
Are you saying that you only appreciate him because of?
No, not saying that.
We're just saying. This is what we're saying. We could become the number one podcast in the fucking world. It does not compare to putting on a jersey, running up and down, and loving that. The thing that you started doing at 6 years old. The things that you
how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel?
It sucks. It's over.
It sucks.
There's nothing. No matter what LeBron does in his life, and he's going to go back, he's going to make a lot of money, he's going to do TV, all this other stuff. That time when he gave the city of Cleveland that parade, ain't nothing he going to do in life.
So
like I just saw Michael.
It was epic.
I just saw Michael Jordan. They had the list. Like he just made he went like
$1 billion.
$1.5 billion.
Yeah.
He made like $400 million last year. He's just another rich guy. It ain't the same when he was like, everybody in the world is watching me play basketball, and I'm the best at it. Ain't nothing can fulfill that.
Nope.
And like I say, that's gone now. Like he's just a guy, and that's not a negative. Now.
Right.
He's a guy with $1 billion, which is pretty damn cool.
I like that. I like that.
But I guarantee you, ain't nothing like that shot he hit against Utah. And it's just a totally different animal.
Yeah. There is, and that's what Chris Bosh said some things about just changing your lifestyle. He's like, you can't go and eat at this restaurant every single night. You got to actually do some things. You got to be home. You got to be present. It's like there's no business that you can do that can give you the same adrenaline rush of looking somebody eye to eye, going toe to toe, and coming out victorious in a basketball sense. There's
or having 20,000 people either
hate you or love you,
doing something that make them all go crazy. They forget about all the problems in their life. I mean, you're like, man, work sucks. My kid driving me crazy. I'm having problems in my marriage. Man, the Cavaliers won tonight, lifted my spirits even for a few minutes. To have that power and ability is a cool thing. And at some point, that's going to be gone. It ends for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, they say athletes die twice.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's true. And look, that's not to take away from what he's accomplishing now and the legacy that he will have after basketball, whether it's as a businessman, as helping kids go to college. Like those are things that, yes, but there is no supplement. There is no replacing that putting on a jersey and
nothing like
and it's just,
as
a college athlete, right? Do you still remember the last time you put it on? How much did you cry?
I bawled. I did.
Yeah, you bought.
And let me tell you something. And you see, I probably played 1, maybe 2 years too long because I was trying to have one more good year. You don't have good years when
I feel like this is you right now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I feel like you're at this point of your career.
Yeah. But you have to accept the fact, shit, I can't play anymore. And it's a humbling experience. That's the reason if you go see when every guy retires, he's crying. He's thanking everybody who's helped him along the way, but he's crying. He's like, I'm not going to get – number one, you can't do it anymore. People retire because they can't physically do it anymore.
Can you do it?
Me, I can do it in short spurts. As long as you don't ask me, as long as you only ask me to do it in short spurts, then I can do it. But
and it's different for Richard.
Yeah.
Why? What do you mean?
I wasn't
because a Michael Jordan drop like that. Michael Jordan for the Wizards. That wasn't Michael Jordan.
No.
Yeah.
Myself, my last couple of years, that wasn't Charles Barkley. I seen Patrick Ewing when he was playing for
Seattle,
and Orlando. That wasn't Patrick Ewing, and it sucks. Yeah. It sucks as a player, and especially when you've been a great player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
it's worse when you're a great player.
And towards the end, like one of the things that I was telling somebody, this version of me as a basketball player is not the version I've known most of my life.
Yes.
Right? When I was in junior high or in high school, All-American. When you go to college and you're the number one team in the country.
Yeah.
And then I go to the NBA, and my first 7 or 8 years, I was 15, 18, 20, 23 points a game. And then you have that decline that starts to happen when you get around 29, 30. Then you start to have the decline. So now me stepping on the court and averaging 5, 6 points a game and playing 15 minutes, even on a good team, which is fun because I love the camaraderie.
That's the only reason you're going to play on a good team.
Yeah, on a good team. But this version of me in the last 5 years of a basketball, the 20 years prior, that's more of who I was as a basketball player. In your prime, that's what you compare. So me stepping on a court today and scoring 5 points or maybe getting the double digits and feeling good about myself, I had stretches of 20 games in a row of double digits, 30 games in a row. Like, there's nothing like Bron's 700 or whatever he is. But it's just like you had moments.
And the thing that drives me crazy, like sometimes, like in my last couple years in Houston, I'd just be sitting there and like, this guy can't fucking play dead. And he's kicking my ass.
Yeah.
It's such a,
it's humbling.
It's humbling. You're like, this guy can't play. And he's kicking my ass.
Yeah. And you don't even want to talk about the money component. And you're like, they paid who? How much?
Yeah.
Like, Doug, when I was a rookie, I was better than him as a rookie, and he's in his 10th year.
Wait, he got $200 million? $200 million? You can never think about the money because your head will explode.
Yeah, your head will explode.
You see guys who average like 12 points get like $200-300 million twice.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked Bill Walton one day at his dinner table, who was one of the funniest guys ever. He goes, I was like, Bill, so-and-so just got paid, X amount, $40 million. I was like, Bill, and he was the easiest person to poke a bear, right? Because then he would just talk for 20 minutes. I was like, Bill, if you were playing today, how much what would your contract worth? He's like, me, if I was playing today, I'd probably be worth Australia. And you're just like, who comes up with that fucking analogy? Like, you didn't give me a dollar figure. You didn't give me you just said a country, a continent. Like, that's what you would be worth today.
Bill's the best, isn't he?
Oh, he's so funny, man. And
he's the best.
Yeah, I grew up with him and Luke and us.
He's my favorite. One thing about the old guys, they either really good or they real assholes. Yeah. And he's one of the great guys. Like, some of the old guys are so bitter and angry how much. I was like, dude, I can't have nothing to do with inflation. It is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're so angry. And then you meet a guy like Bill.
He's just in his own world.
He's just happy.
Yeah.
But there's nothing worse when you meet one of these old guys. They're just mad at the world because I was like.
You look at them wrong and they.
No, they're mad
the money that gets paid.
Some of these guys, they were making like $5,000-$10,000 a year.
Yeah. Doing second jobs.
Yeah.
Construction during the summer.
Is that all y'all's fault?
No. But some.
Yeah, I didn't.
We got some get off my lawn guys.
Yeah. Well, I came in the generation right after Chuck, and it was like again, to put things in perspective. I've made more in my career than Michael Jordan did.
Yes.
And Michael Jordan had 2 years of $30 million.
I think he's making up for it now.
I'm not trying to compare. He's in the billionaires. I'm just saying, when you look at it, a guy that in the golden era of basketball.
I never made more than $5 million.
A year?
A year.
Yeah.
And I played 16 years.
Byron Scott said he only made over $1 million. Now, this is a guy that won multiple championships, was a very, very good player, averaged 20-plus in the league a couple of years. He only made over $1 million like his last year or two. Yeah. And even after that, he went and played overseas because they were going to give him like $500,000 or something like that after end of his career, because he was like, if I can walk away with this, because he didn't make that in the first 8-9 years of his career. Remember Magic Johnson signed the lifetime contract?
The thing that's funny, you mentioned that. I'm so old. I remember we were walking around the locker room high-fiving when Magic, a basketball player made $1 million. When Magic signed that first deal for $1 million a year for 25 years, we couldn't believe. I remember I was high-fiving Dr. J and Moses because no player had made $1 million.
That's insane.
I mean, that's how crazy it was back then. We were that was our threshold. Can we get guys to $1 million? Now we got guys making $30 million.
Well, the minimum salary in the NBA is $2.3 million, right? And I'm like, people are like, retired. I'm like, dude, it's $2.3 million.
I know.
Where else can I go and do this? I can sit here, maybe play a little bit, be a good veteran presence to guys, or I can go sit at home and not make $2.3 million.
And first of all,
I can't wait for our listeners.
Well, I'm just.
I'm not saying it
like when I say minimum contract, and it is a shit ton of money, but think about that.
That's amazing.
The NBA is paying me the least amount of money they can. They're like, this is minimum wage. This is all we can pay you, and it's $2.3 million. Why the fuck would you ever tell me to retire? Stay here and do this as long as you can.
And I think Richard would be great on any team, especially when you got a bunch of 18-year-old kids who don't know shit. Like, what separates the NBA, one of the reasons I hate one and done is people say, well, they draft these young kids in other sports. Yeah, but they don't go right to the NBA. They go to the minor leagues and get a chance to grow and mature, blah, blah, blah. I'm giving an 18-year-old kid millions of dollars who just got out of high school. I'm moving him to a big city.
And if your parents don't have an understanding of it.
There's so much to college that you learn that has nothing to do with the sport.
Yeah. Just
in life.
And it doesn't, and again, the one and done or high school doesn't guarantee longevity. Like I said, I went to school for 3 years. Jason Terry, Tim Duncan, a lot of these guys went to school 3, 4 years.
It's just the agents are just scumbags.
Yeah.
They're trying to get to the second contract faster.
Yeah, faster.
But people don't forget, you don't make a lot of money on your first contract.
But if you don't have the wherewithal to understand all the work and that's my thing. And again, not to go get off my lawn with the millennials, and we'll kind of cut it on this point, is that when you have a kid that is the best player in his high school, best player in the country, one of the top 10 players in the country, right? He gets everything. Everyone hands it to him. Yeah. Then he shows up at a college. Let it be UCLA or Kentucky, and he is the man, right? Top 5 player, X, Y, and Z, guaranteed top 10 pick. And they just give him all. They're not coaching him. He's in school for for a semester. So they give it all to him. And then he shows up at one of the worst franchises in the NBA, and he's 19 years old. And then they're like, what do you want? What do you need? Your face is on the billboard. You're this. You're everything. And you're 19 years old. You don't know how to work yet. You don't have a great work ethic. You don't have a great understanding of the game yet. You've never been coached really fucking hard. You've just been told to go play in your natural ability.
You've always been better than everybody else.
Better than everyone else. So all of a sudden you get to the NBA and everyone's just like, no. Sorry, young fella. So you get the 7-footers that are talented like Karl Anthony Towns or Anthony Davis, that because of their just natural ability, but then you have these guards that don't understand turnover ratio, don't understand making people better, they don't understand these things, and they struggle, right? Or even like, look, I love Devin Booker, right? Think he's a really talented player. But he's just scoring a lot of points on a really bad team, and the team's never getting better.
Do you know, it's so funny you mentioned that because I live in Phoenix. They're like, what do you think of Booker? I says, I think he got a chance of being a good player. They're like, he's not a good player yet? I says, no. I can't judge players on bad teams.
Well, when your team is fouling, is fouling to help you get to 70, to me, like that, again, you're promoting negative things. You're like, as a franchise, if I was the owner of the franchise, if I was a GM, I would have been pissed off. Don't fucking foul, right? Don't fucking foul so that he can go get more free throws in a game that's already over.
But people don't understand, Richard. It's totally different getting good numbers on a good team than getting good numbers on a bad team.
That's why Malcolm Brogdon was my rookie of the year a couple of years ago, because he averaged 10 points a game on a team that made the playoffs, and he was a point guard, so every possession matters. If you go, the other argument was Saric, who was just going to play tons of minutes and just go get numbers without any repercussions to anything that he did.
But guys don't understand. I said, man, it's different because I've been on teams where we made trades for guys,
and you thought they could play.
I knew they couldn't play. And the coaches tried to tell me, like, well, he averaged. I said, he only averaged that much because he was on a bad team. And on a bad team, he was just the best of the guys who suck. So they gave him the ball
Charles,
more.
I think you said this, Charles. Every team has a leading scorer.
Every team has a leading scorer.
Even the shitty ones.
Says, hey, he was just the best player on a shitty team. He got more touches. Just because he averaged, that's why you can't just go by averages.
Yeah. Then they try to start doing that analytic shit. But look, we could talk all day, Charles. I just can't thank you enough. Like we are very, very fortunate. I think really our holy grail, we only have a couple of more. But I think from what you're telling me, I can't drop your name with Michael to get him on here.
Probably can't. That won't work anymore.
Can't drop your name.
Negative.
But thank you so much, man. This is awesome. Even as a guy towards the end of my career, just listening to you talk, I think listening to the generations, I think is good for young kids out there. I would love to have you on here again where we could actually
just
have
let
some
me
wine.
Know when, man.
We can have some wine.
Hey, I guess make sure I'm going to send y'all some wine.
Listen, we will plug that thing. And again, because the proceeds go to charity.
Go to charity.
Yeah,
I don't make a dime.
Yeah. Well, as long if you giving me alcohol for charity and I get to drink for charity, I
tell you
love
what,
that.
I'm going to send y'all a couple cases. Y'all tell me what you think.
Before we close out, can you give us one thing about inside the NBA that no one would know? Something that goes on.
Tell them what you watch, Charles.
Well, it's really.
Tell them what you watch in the back room.
It depends on what night.
The normal Thursday night.
Oh, well, right now I'm watching SWAT. I love.
Wait, you don't watch games?
It's on TV. It depends on the game. I'm watching SWAT right now. Shamar Moore is. I'm loving SWAT. I'm gonna miss Scandal. Scandal was great. The last couple of years it got bad, but before that, I used to watch Scandal on Thursday night.
No, I kid you not, and I went in there the first time and I was in awe. And he had.
We got about 20.
They got 20 TVs up there, and they got these 4 chairs, these 4 big chairs, and they're like, "Yeah, Charles, is it ABC? ABC?
No.
What is it? Well, I'm saying, what show? Scandal's on what? ABC. They're like, "Yeah, Charles is normally watching ABC," and I was just like, "Oh, that's amazing."
Like tonight, I'm gonna be watching hockey. The Columbus Blue Jackets against the Washington.
Ooh, shout out Blue Jackets.
Let's see. It's a Monday. I'll probably watch Scorpion.
Do you watch The Bachelor?
I do not.
Bachelor.
I'm not a total loser. You watch that?
Oh, yes.
No.
I hate all reality television.
She watches the Kardashians.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
And on that note, that is another edition of Road Trip.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
Our pleasure.